present here. As we all know that the plastic, including the single-use and it poses an immense threat to the coastal and marine life forms. Besides, it depletes the natural beauty and aesthetic value associated with sea and its beaches. India has a coastline, a long coastline of 7,500 kilometers plus, and that spans through 9 states and 4 union territories. Oceanic biodiversity, including the coastal biodiversity, is a treasure trove, and it is like our heritage, and we must protect it. And not to mention of the careless and reckless approach of common man, throwing plastic bottles, wrappers, cold drink cans, chips packets on the beaches that not only spoils the beaches but also imperils the coastal and marine life. Against this backdrop, Government of India has started a coastal cleanliness campaign, Swachh Sagar, Surakshit Sagar, for 75 days, culminating on 17 September 2022 on International Coastal Cleanup Day. So besides this, incidences like huge oil spills, marine accidents, discharge of effluents from industries only add to the woes of our oceans and seas, and that are already bearing the brunt of excessive deep sea mining, unscientific and exploitative fishing activities. So the moot question is what should be done and how, who all should be involved, and what are the concerted efforts that are required to be made. Are individual and collective efforts on part of citizens enough to deal with these minutes, or it's time to frame a policy at the national level? And what are those suggestions and inputs that the scientific institutions and ministries are required to put forth before the formulation of such a policy, drafting such a policy? So today's STIP Forum lecture series would be thoroughly discussing these aspects. And the title is Marine Litter and Microplastic Pollution Along Indian Coast, Need of a National Marine Litter Policy, for which we have with us Dr. Pravakar Mishra, Senior Scientist, National Center for Coastal Research, NCCR, Chennai, as keynote speaker. A warm welcome to you, sir. We are honored to have with us Dr. Nakul Parashar, Director, Vigyan Prasar, who will chair today's session and would put forth his views and introduce the speaker. Sir, I would also like to request you to tell the viewers more about the Swachh Sagar, Surakshit Sagar campaign taken up by the Government of India with Ministry of Earth Sciences as the lead ministry and Vigyan Prasar as one of the coordinators. It would help in creating awareness among the people regarding the contribution that each one of us can make in keeping our coast and environment clean. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Parashar, Director Vigyan Prasar. I think there's some issue with his internet connectivity. He is joining back again. Give us 2 minutes. I was trying to join that.
Sorry, I had a connection issue. Right, sorry. First of all, good afternoon and namaskar to all. Yeah, is it okay now?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry, my apologies. I had a net breakdown at my place. So, on behalf of Vigyan, Prasar, RIS, and other stakeholders of this monthly lecture series, I welcome all of you. And it's a matter of great privilege and honor for me to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Pravakar Mishra, who is currently working as Scientist F, heading the prediction of coastal water quality and marine litter and microplastic in the marine environment programs at the National Center for Coastal Research, NCCR, of the Ministry of Earth Sciences in Chennai. Dr. Mishra possesses a master's degree in oceanography and a PhD from the Ocean Research Institute at the University of Tokyo, Japan. In 2004, he joined the Ministry of Earth Sciences as a scientist, and since then, he has been involved with a number of major research programs, such as the Shoreline Management Program, Mapping and Modeling of Tsunami, Seawater Quality Monitoring and Prediction of Pollutants, and Marine Litters and Microplastics. Dr. Mishra has published about 80 research papers and articles related to coastal processes, sedimentation, coastal pollution, hazard-related issues. He has participated in a number of scientific cruises in the Pacific Ocean, China Sea, Indian Ocean, and the Bay of Bengal. He has participated and presented his research results at a number of international conferences. And during last 3 years, he has represented India at the United Nations Environment Agency UNEP meeting on ad hoc group of expert committee meeting of marine litter and microplastics. This was held at Nairobi, Kenya and Geneva, Switzerland. And also he's been with the protection of Arctic marine environment meeting at Oslo in Norway. On behalf of Vigyan Prasar, I welcome you, sir, and we look forward to hearing from you on a topic which is very much relevant today, particularly when the Ministry of Earth Sciences and all of us are working towards the 75-day program called Swachh Sagar Surakshit Sagar. Once again, without wasting any time, may I request you to please deliver your keynote address and enlighten us with your thoughts and processes, which I'm sure will be very beneficial to this people who are attending this. Once again, a hearty welcome to you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a nice introduction and thank you all. Namaskar. So I'll be actually sharing my slides. Just give me a minute. So today's my talk. Today's my talk is I was assigned to talk on marine litter and microplastic pollution along Indian coast and need of a national marine litter policy. So as we understand that because the slide shows that a lot of the marine litter as it is defined, that it is something like whatever the waste or garbage that goes to the ocean or that is found in the ocean, but it is mostly what we found that it is generated on the land. So a definition I can say, it was an International Coastal Cleanup Day. It was in the report, it has been defined that this is marine litter is a wider malaise. It is a symptomatic of a wider malaise. And as say that because of the poor management of natural resources. And having said that, whatever it in the timeline, it is slowly it is going to be increased, or if we leave the scenario as it is, or business as usual. So the lower picture shows that plastic almost, if you take the marine litter, if you look at the marine litter data for any part of the world, this is the picture what I got from the Professor Richardson of University of Plymouth, that 75% is of the marine litter contains plastic. That's why we are now worried about. The major items are, as we have seen, and during our survey for Indian coast, also we have encountered that cigarette butts, food wrappers, straws, forks, knives, cutlery items, plastic beverage bottles, plastic bottles, as Madam Kinkini just in the introduction said about. So the problem is here that it is going to affect, that the plastic is going to affect the marine animal, the innocent marine organism, and as a whole, that also indirectly affects to the human health system. Go ahead. Human health system. So having said that, we at one part, the major offenders are, you can see, the major corporate sectors. So the biggest the companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all they produce, they generate the plastic bottles for their products, and that is the biggest challenge right now. That at one time we are consumers, at the same time we are generating, and you can see the statistics. If you see, every minute there is more than 1 lakh bottles, more than 10 lakhs bottles are produced in the is produced. So next please. And the problem of the crocs is the longevity of the plastics. If I release a plastic bottle right now, it will go more than 10 generation of mine to get into disintegrated in the ocean. So the plastics that live for a long time, that is the major problem. Go back a little. Yeah, so the fishing line similarly can go 600 years, and the plastic bottles can go 400 years. This is the major problem, that why we should contain our marine litter, or why we should contain our litter at the land, or how we should manage the litter at the land. The next. And this started in 2015, a paper published in Science that shows that what is the production, global plastic production is going on, how they are increasing with time. And 1950, it is 2 million metric ton, and it has gone to 2017, 8.3 billion metric ton, and by 2040, 50, it was predicted that 34 billion ton. And as we know, the plastic industry, a huge industry, even in India, it generates a lot of employment and a lot of financial transactions. So these plastic industry is one of the important part of our life, and they, at that point of time, they made a hypothetical calculations about for taking the data from 192 countries, and that they say that by 2050 the total weight of plastics will be outnumbering the total weight of fish in the ocean. So if we leave the things as usual, so this will happen. So the plastic waste inputs from land into the ocean, it was calculated something like 8 million tons per annum, and that is how the way that is entering. So the sources, as I said, mostly land-based, and some of the ocean-based, but indirectly that goes to the ocean. Whatever we carry to the ocean, like fishery fishing gears, or ocean cargo, cruise industry, even sometimes the natural hazards like tsunamis or cyclones or storm surges that can inundate and they can carry from the land. And even sometimes there's something like container in ship accidents. So all these things are the major sources, and most of the sources sources are carried through this. Major sources is the rivers, and accumulation areas are the along the coast, that can go into the ocean, that can settle at a different matrices of the ocean, like at the surface, at the bottom, at the sediment. It can flow down through the continental shelf along the slope and can settle. So even that, the plastics which are being that can be taken by different animals, organisms, and so it can also to the biota system. So this is how this happens. But here the interesting part is that if you look at the study done by Leverton et al. 2017, and these are basically based on the hypothetical data. There was no data as such. Data is available. So this data says that the Southeast Asian countries are the major polluter, you can say, and they contribute most of the the plastic, the marine litter to in the terms of weight or quantity in the world ocean. Next. So, as we know, this is the impact. We say landfill. We do the landfill that can create a chemical leaching to the groundwater, and if you burn, it can create, dioxins, furnace, and all sorts of hazardous smoke. Smoke can be hazardous. At the same time, if you put it in the land side, this can cause also the choking the storm waters that can drain, as well as they can leach into the groundwater. It has been already seen that groundwater also can be contaminated through this plastic chemicals when there is a landfill in the landfill areas. So this, as we understand, that biological affecting social loss of aesthetic and indigenous values of the beaches, as we have already seen that many of parts of our Indian beaches are really in very bad condition or bad safe. And similarly, the coast cleanup, reduction of tourism and losses of, as well as that, because we have a lot of industries like fishing industry, aquaculture industry. They can also, the economically, they can reduce, they can affect, and also the leaching of the public safety and health, they can also create a problem. So, these chemicals, mostly the chemicals, next. Plastic is a man-made synthetic organic solid material, as we know, and because of their lightweight, strong flexibility and durability, low cost, that has become a popular use, as well as but there are certain plastic that can be recyclable and certain plastic that cannot be recyclable. So the very important point here, but all the content different types of chemicals, and while molding and making to different types of materials, products, different types of chemicals are used, different types of means they can something like acrylic and polymethic, and the polyethylene, polypropylene. These are some of the important chemicals that can be seen in the plastics. Next. And what happens actually when the plastics get into am I audible, sir? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So because we had a power drop, so I thought, okay, thank you. So when it is released to the environment, from the mega plastics is get into macroplastic, mesoplastic, microplastic, and ultimately that can also become the nanoplastic. So the particles they can get into disintegrated by weathering effect, and there are two types of plastics what we consider. One is we produce microplastics, that is for different use in different products, like in facial products and toothpaste, something like sanitary products we are using. That noodles we produce or we make it directly, that is called primary plastics. But the microplastic, which are coming from the disintegration of all these things, we call it secondary microplastics. So the fibers, foams, fragments, all these are part of the secondary microplastic. When in the noodles, what we make it directly from in the factory for different crave to make use in different products, that is called the primary plastics, primary microplastic. And this microplastic, very interestingly, the studies have already done recently during 2019-21. A lot of papers have come up, and they have seen microplastic has gone to the different matrices, different environment, starting from Mount Everest to the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean and the highest peak of the earth. At the same time, it can be carried through wind, and it can be found in the remotest place of the desert. Even it can be seen in the human placenta. That has been reported recently in 21, where a paper has reported that it is also seen in the human placenta. Similarly, recent paper says it can also induce the global warming, as well as there are some studies, because the microplastic increase in microplastic in the soil is going to affect because we use a lot of plastics products on the the developed country, as well as some of the countries like India, where the agriculture is a major business. So there, what happens that we are using it, but we do not know the bad effect of it. The effect is on they can also, in the soil, they can mix it as microplastic, and they can affect even the production, as well as they are going to affect the water. That is what the studies has been done, and this is a recent paper, which says that it can affect the greenhouse gas emission. As we know that when the oil and gas industry is used to make plastics, they are the main sources, as well as the plastics in the open ocean, suppose the microplastic, that can also hinder the temperature of the ocean, and that can also affect on the long run to the climate change. So, as I said, the microplastics in human blood has been also reported, as well as the microplastic found in the deepest ocean. Some of the studies, and as we know that Mount Everest, it has also seen. And very interestingly, the recent COVID-19 fight, these plastics became very popular, in the sense because the production also grown up to multi-dimension, like 3 to 5 times in some cases, and some cases the plastic has entrance to our lifestyle in such a way that at one point we have to say yes, we have to live with plastics. So go back. At one point, we have to say yes with plastics and no to pollution. So this unpopular plastic turned a savior in COVID, and this is the biggest challenge, that without plastics, we are unable to live. And with plastics, we are having a very, if we are not managing it properly, we are having a very bad consequences. And as I saw, there is the pathways to the ocean are some of the pathways we can account, and some of the pathways we cannot account. There is accountable pathways, there is non-accountable pathways. So the ones they enter from the land, and whatever our actions at the land side and land-based activities, they are the major producer, or they are the major sources, and that is very important. And now we must have a thought on what are the activities and how we are going to regulate them, so that all these the pathways of the major sources can be curtailed, or can be managed or contained, so that we can improve the microplastics. We can some sort of improve the litter, how ban or litter going into the ocean. And it is very interesting to see that in the ocean we know in the entire, if you look at the world ocean, there are major gyre systems, which we call the Pacific gyre, or we can say Atlantic gyre, or North Atlantic gyre, Indian Ocean gyre. So they are complete. They complete the current system. They complete the gyre system, because from the equatorial point they go to the pole, towards pole, and come back. So the current system moves like a circular way. And with these current systems, once the leader is going there and falling in the current, it can be carried along the current, and they remain in the ocean for a long time. So they have already seen the garbage patches already identified the garbage patches in the Pacific Ocean. So this is called the ocean, the Pacific gyre, Pacific patch. And so some of the studies has already seen that earlier it was thought that when the studies were not done, where the initial stage, there were studies that, as I said, that the South Asian nations are the major producer of marine litter, or major contributor to the marine litter. So, but with these are based on some of the data, and they were as the major rivers like Ganges, Brahmaputra, Godavari, Mahanadi, all these Irrawaddy, all these river systems are there. So there was a thought, there is a school of thought was there that these major rivers are bringing a lot of garbage, a lot of litter from the land side and dumping into the ocean. But later on, when the data are being collected, and there is successive papers, they say that not the major rivers, the smaller rivers that going through different rural areas, or that going through smaller city areas, that are making more contribution to the plastic input than the major rivers. So with time, with the science, why I'm stressing this, that when there is no data and when you start collecting data, we understand better. And we understood now that by 2017 to 21, when there was a series of data collection was there, and they found that 1650 rivers that contribute 80% of the plastic inputs, where the earlier thought was that 90% of the plastic input coming from the 5 major rivers. And similarly, the rich countries produce much more plastic waste, and they per person, if you look at the compare with Indian per capita, but the thing is, when the rich countries, maybe the management is better, or the system of things which are working in a better way. So they always say that the poor countries or the developing countries, they are the major producer of polluter. So because the countries like India, if you do not have data, it is very difficult to defend ourselves. So that with all this concept, with all these backgrounds, so we started looking at, if you look at the mismanaged plastic to ocean. So if you see, Philippines is the major mismanaged plastics, and India name is not there within the upper 5 or 6 ranking. So, but the China or India is 0.05%. So China is a major producer of plastics. So this is one of the things. If you have proper data, you can defend your own stand. Next. And as we know that our own data says that India's 4 metros, that is, they generate more than 1,670 tons of plastics, which is our 40% of plastic waste produced in India, 60 major cities. And out of that, the average plastic waste generated is 40-60 tons per day. Is out of that, 77% are the municipal waste. And similarly, if you look at state-wise, these are all Central Pollution Control CPCB data, Control Board data. And if you look at that, India's quantity of plastic waste generated is this much, 9,200 tons per day, and 60% of the waste is being recycled. And we are also one of the best recycle, we can say, if you compare the world scenario. So having said that, next. These are the problems we know. And India joined the Clean Seas program, and our Prime Minister signed in the World Environment Day of June 5, 2018. And also the same for giving a ambitious place by the country will eliminate all single use of plastics. Our Prime Minister got the Champions of Earth Award from the United Nations, that beat plastic pollution was the message. Then, and here we are sitting in the Chennai, along the Tamil Nadu coast, Chennai, and being a National Centre for Coastal Research under the Minister of Earth Science, as we are looking towards most of our programs are towards coastal pollution, shoreline management, and marine litter. A program called Marine Litter and Microplastic was initiated, and then we started thinking how to start collecting data, how to quantify our data, so that we can defend, or we can defend in the world forum that this is the exact scenario of Indian scenario. And some of the research challenges at that point of time, important topics we thought of taking, that is like a fate and behavior, how the plastics are moving from source to sink, and how to quantify this marine litter in the different biota system, in different matrices like water, sediment, and biota. What is its ecological impact, and how to create an awareness, and how to monitor and management the mitigation measures, and ultimately how it is very important that we should have a marine litter policy for the country. Then, as we all knows that every year on the third week of September, Saturday, 3rd September Saturday is being observed as one of the International Coastal Cleanup Day. And 2018 onwards, we started working on to get the data, to collect the data on coastal cleanup. And initially, we thought we can start at least one beach to create awareness. And most of the data, what we saw, like you can see, as I told you, that these are some of the top 10 plastic items we got. So food wrappers, cups, beverages, all this, and most we can identify the major source, that the tourism and recreation. And we looked at the data. And we collected for 2019, we collected for 33 beaches for the Pan India. On the single day, we engaged the local NGOs, we engaged some of the universities, we engaged some of the school students, and there were 26 coordinators all over India, and 6,984 volunteers participated. And we got from 33 beaches 35 tons of total litter we got in weight. And that also in 2000, because of 2020, we could not take it because of the COVID pandemic. And 2021, again, for 30 beaches we did. And we try to look at the comparison. So what is happening state-wise? What is the major litter is coming from a beach? And what is the reason that particular litter is coming from that particular beach? Like that, we started analyzing it a little bit scientific way. And we look at we saw that the public litters, means litters coming from the public beaches, from the tourism, that is food wrappers, this thing, that is mostly high. And also looked at some of the beaches of Lakshadweep Island, and what we found, these are some of the informations that we collected. And what we found, that almost, you can see, 2,39,095 item-wise. Each beach item-wise we identified, and the food wrappers, how many food wrappers we are getting from 33 beaches, and how many plastic cups we got. Like that, we make item-wise as well as the weight-wise. And we saw almost 35 tons of garbage we got, or the litter what we got. And then we can try to put it in a little bit scientific way. Which beach will have suppose we'll use it in the index. So which beach is going to have the better index? So we looked at some of the beaches far from the from the metro cities, and some of the beaches like not developed, and some of the beaches of Orissa, some of the beaches of Karnataka, they got better means cleaner index than some of the beaches which are exposed, like Marina Beach is very dirty beach, like extremely dirty beach we got. So similar way, we try to publish this data, we try to create an awareness, and since then, this is what we understood is all this by collection of this data. And in the last 2 years, we have already had collected the data for 100 beaches, and we have done a number of what we understood, that man-made problem and change in our attitude. So the attitude has to change. That whatever rules or regulation or whatever you brought in, but that is not going to work unless the people will change their attitude. And while going to a beach, or the fishermen, how we are going to bring awareness among them, that is important. So we started, and at the same point, different types of collaborations, international collaboration came up, and we started working with different countries, and like Commonwealth Litter Program, Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative, all these programs are on, and all this right now. There are few countries they are coming, and we are collaborating with them, and we are collecting the data along with for our course, along with a higher level, scientific level. We are making some of the studies. So next please. And we have the opportunity of going into the ocean because we are having some of the coastal ships that we go, and we made some of the protocols, standard protocols with like Center for Environment fisheries and aquaculture of UK. We wrote a protocol of our own and how to collect the data, how we are going to collect the beach sand, whether microplastic, how the beach sand column-wise, how we can collect some of the data. Similarly, how the mesoliter, microliter can be studied. And we have a laboratory analysis protocol we have also developed, which we are following for our study. Similarly, we try to quantify at different depths of the ocean, seasonally how it is varying, to understand what is the impact of a particular river or particular source on the ocean side, as well as how the microplastics or liters are coming and getting accumulated. So next one, please. And also we found that at deepest part of the ocean, where some of the 1,000-meter depth, 250 to 1,000-meter depth, also the microplastics, the plastic particles has gone, and microplastic is also have also been seen. So this we along with this. So different types of particles we looked at, and we found that mostly originated from polyethylene or polypropylene, which are the larger particle. These particles are mostly originated from the human, whatever the material what we are using on the land side, it has been disintegrated and carried and getting accumulated in the ocean. So the color is also important, because the color what we are using, that can mimic as a food, and that can be also taken by fish, that can be taken by some of the organisms, smaller scale of organisms. So that also we have observed, some of our studies says. But the more important point here to remember that the smaller particles are more abundant than in microplastic itself. The nanoplastic particles are more in water as well as sediment than the microplastic. That means the plastics are getting disintegrated, and we are also means it is getting into the ocean, or the sediment getting into the settlement and sediment, which is very difficult. That once it enters the ocean, there is no way we can clean our ocean, or no way we can take it out to our ocean. So it is very important to do something at some point right now, that we should not allow the plastics to get into the ocean. So similarly, these are some of the studies just for audience appreciation. I put it. So next, these are some of the wastewater, and very interesting that whenever there is a flood situation along the Chennai coast, we saw that entire flood, during the flood situation, the entire Marina Beach, which is one of the widest, I can say, and the widest and longest beach maybe in the country, the pressure of tourists means mostly on an average 30 to 50,000 per day. So the beach gets inundated with plastics. There is a flood in the Chennai that has been seen in 2005 flood, 2015 flood, 2021 there was a flood. We have seen immediately the beach gets completely flooded with debris. The reason is there are two rivers which is flowing inside the Chennai city, that is Adai River and Kom River. They bring entire trash of the city, and they throw it on they pumped it into the ocean, and along, because of the currents pattern, whatever the current season may be, either the northerly current or the southerly current, because both the rivers are on both sides of the Marina Beach, the entire beach gets inundated with plastics. And this is how we did a modeling study, how how we can what measures need to be taken. Similarly, this is a study we did for the different types of beaches, which is used by people, which is non-used by people, and we saw that higher abundance in urban beaches, and dominant litter is single use of plastics, and beaches means the beaches which are we categorize as per the UNEP categorization, and we found that higher accumulation also happens in the back shore, not right on the front shore, because the wind also takes it and the litter and makes it, means the deposited on the back shore of the beaches. And similarly, some of the data that from the deep sea sediments also we got. Next. And some of the commercial fishes we also looked at in, and we found that the commercial fishes that is sold here in Chennai market, we took it, we tried to look at, and we found almost there are 1 to 5 numbers of per individual means the plastics present in their body. So the major polymers also polyamide and polyethylene and polypropylene. So similarly we looked at the finfish. The finfish are the number of the plastics are dominant. So in the the shellfish also that gets dominant because they are wherever because of that they get attached to a system, and they slowly because they are a filter feeder, and that gets into their body. So they also takes this microplastic inside their body. So similarly, now look at the best practices. If you look at the Japan, take some of the examples of Japan or USA, they have the best practices of solid waste management. They have a particular guideline. They have also earmarked how they should manage it, and this makes them to better manage. Why Japan, though Japan produces the major consumer of plastic, single use of plastic, but they manage it in such a way that they have at every point on the land side, they have a system to manage it. Second. So similarly, they have a national action plan for how to make it and what is the best way to management system, how to prevent littering, illegal dumping. Though the rules are written as well as the rules are available in our country also, but they follow it, and that follow-up comes from the education, the awareness, and the collection system, and how the plastics that has to be recycled, and how the producer should be responsible. So all this, along with the proper cooperation with the agencies as well as the local government, they are able to manage or contain their plastic waste in a better way than means if you look at the world scenario, Japan is the best way they maintain their garbage system. So similarly, in USA there is an Environmental Protection Agency. So they have what is the EPS role? They have defined what is the Environmental Protection Agency role in that, how they are going to enforce, and how funding for outreaching people who are doing community service, how education in school level can be given, and mostly about to keep their own environment clean. Those points are very important, and how they have to act at the home, at the beach, at the community. These are also they have defined, and people follow it. So there is a biggest important understanding, important point to learn that how you are going to create an awareness among your people. And we also tried here some of the beaches while we are doing the cleanliness. We thought that the local school, fishermen school, suppose fishermen boys are going that village schools, that if we make them volunteers for their beach, that will act. And we tried in some of the experiments, we tried to do it, and we found that actually there is some sort of awareness is increasing among the people. If you make them their own, if you make them aware that their own beaches, they have to make it, they have to manage it, and they have to restore it. Next. So as we know, we have the starting since we have a lot of existing environmental legislation in India, but most of the time the implementation part, although we try to implement it, but most of the time it fails because of one is very important is that by putting it. Because at this stage we cannot say simply that plastic will ban it. Producing a plastic to ban it is not possible. As I said, worldwide, if you look at it is a very big industry. Similarly, if we have to do something So we are also having a rule right now that we are going to ban the single use of plastics completely. But at the same time, we need to see the effect how our means with time. Suppose this cleaning awareness and all these things are affecting the banning as well as affecting our cleanliness of our beaches. That needs to be studied, no doubt. But at the same time, completely banning will not work as we understood. That is very important. So because some sort of at some point somewhere that will go in as a black market, because still the producer, the people who have taken loans or taken small scale industries or taken doing the business, they will somehow see that their product should reach to the public, and that is very important. And whatever litter you make it, suppose you make it to shift it from a plastic to paper also. So a lot of paper also, suppose paper bags goes and accumulate in the ocean, means that is also can be litter. Even suppose the forks has been changed from the plastic to the wooden. If a lot of wooden forks are not managed at the land side and it goes to the ocean, then that can also create another problem tomorrow. So it is very important that legislation, whatever legislation we are making, along with the legislation, some sort of a massive awareness is required. A general public participation, citizen science, citizen approach is required. Next. And there is a number of things have been developed. No doubt we have very beautiful example in Ambikapur, Chhattisgarh, that entire landfill has been changed to a park. We have also in the Kuam River, we have some of the beautiful, you can see how a trap, a simple floating trap, this has been by Alphamers, a company captain, navy captain, he used, and he make it like a small scale strap and he collect this garbage. But the thing is, after this collection, nobody cares. Even the corporation does not take it, recycle it, or they leave it as it is. That is the biggest, I can say, biggest challenge in India. So this garbage you can see in Coam River, it is like that for the last maybe I am seeing this garbage lying in the Coam River like for the last 3-4 years. So nobody gives any some sort of thought after that. This garbage has to be taken back. Suppose it is this much floating plastic debris has been collected, it has to be filled. Suppose next there will be a flood that will completely break that floating platform, and that can go into the ocean. So there should be a system to always recycle the things. Always collection systems should be improved. And there are in foreign countries, no doubt, there are a lot of machinery things are being developed, technology with technology, and they are doing it. But with simple solutions, it is possible. Unless we think that India should be landfill free, India, we must think that India should be landfill free India. Then only we can work in that direction, and we can improve this some of the practices with because we have here a lot of tremendous human power, so we can do it. Next. And these are some of the related solutions, how the small experiments are being done in different countries. And these are some of the crossbones and banners and barriers used for plastics. And this we can use for our canals, for our different types of even startups can be done, and people can be thought, can give their think, so that so some sort of technology can be developed, and some of the trap system can be developed. And as we are seeing every day, we see here in Chennai that beaches are being cleaned at a proper interval, but still the next day, the next visit, it gets completely inundated with garbage litters. The reason is that because people, that once the beach is being cleaned, people got a psychology that, okay, somebody is cleaning for us. The next day, I should go also make a garbage. Means I should litter. I have the right to litter. So it is very important to give a thought on that. And what should be the solution on those type of attitude, or how to change people's the people's involvement with the beach, and how to make them more interactive way. That is very important. Next. And we had with our whatever data we collected and whatever experts we thought of, means we had a lot of workshops and we gave some recommendations. No doubt, we are writing some. We are making a draft paper for what should be our policy. So, because none of the countries in the developed countries, they are having some sort of national marine litter policy. None of them are having, though they are having some of the recycling of their managing their litter on the land side, managing their garbage on the land side, but nobody has so far suggested. But it is very important that we need to have some policy in the sense that how to make our solid waste management and how to make the plastic waste collection mechanism at different points. Like we have identified, and this has outcome of some of the workshop we did with some of the experts, Indian experts and foreigners from other countries experts, and we had an understanding that these are some of the things needs to be improved in India, and some of the places such as we have a problem like that. We are unable to collect whatever the garbage we are generating. Similarly, so that's the problem. So the collection system should be more better, and the segregation at how we can make it the household at a household level as well as a colony level or as well as a community level, and how we can improve that at the village level. That needs to be thought of. So this is some of the recommendations we have done, like how we can the production and recycling and also use. We can make it even what should be our role, the government's role, and what should be the scientific. And we need some evidence and policy. So scientific needs and policy has to be, or it has to be. Some of the based on the evidence, we need to write the policy. So these are some of the points we right now we are working on it. And the message, takeaway message is as we understand with our data, that there should be the resource, manufacture and recycling and consumption. They should be with compatibility. They should work, and then only it can improve. And there should be a shift in design as well as awareness and research and education. And this is very important. And very important, as I said, the shift in public attitude, how we can going to do it. And these are some of the management solutions of plastic problem. we have already discussed, and we are making it. Putting it in a draft format. So next, please. And for some of the waste reductions, management, sewage and effluents are required, and some of the STPs, while the STPs capabilities and sewage that need to be improved in our country. This is very important. Even our washing of clothes also can produce microplastic because we use polyester. So similarly, those when there is the storm waters and the household drain that can also take a lot of plastics into the ocean, but all this needs to be properly collected and properly recycled, properly filtered out, and these things needs to be emphasized. Suppose we want to do, no doubt we have the major plastic problem. The single-use of plastic we can ban, but at the same time, if you are shifting to other. So some other thing, if you are moving, then we should also thought of. Next, please. So this is what the vision of Swachhata as. This is a very, very, very nice photograph that was viral when our Prime Minister was collecting the litter at Kovalam beach, that is near to Chennai. So there, if we make it a public movement, we can make our country being counted as one of the as one among the cleanest nations. And with that proposal, we are doing as madam in the in introduction said that 75 days, 75 beaches, 7,500 kilometer long coastline. No doubt, Swachh Sagar, Surakshit Sagar, we can make a campaign, but it should continue. This campaign, I mean to say, they should change the public attitude in the sense, if one day we make, the next day we make it again, keep it free, then so something like some approach from the government side or from the NGOs or from the local universities, local colleges, they should take up a beach, they adopt a beach, they can create a awareness so that it can the cleanliness, keeping clean of our beaches, and so Swachh Sagar and Surakshit Sagar should continue and will go for a long time. Okay, so the message is very clear. Little drops make mighty ocean. From today onwards, we should take a stay place while disposing our household trash. We should separate the plastic item, how tiny it might be, hand over to a neighborhood cycler. And we know in India, a major portion of our plastics or our all our litter that is being taken by the rack pickers and that being recycled. So it is very important that we should also make a place and we should put it in our own lifestyle so that things will definitely going to improve. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. It's really been a very informative and enriching one. And the message is this, that not only they need to have a policy, but what is more required is a change in the behavior of the tourists and the people, a common man, any citizen. Change in the mindset is what it is required. So which requires a very massive, robust awareness, so that there is a shift in the attitude, approaches, and the lifestyle that we follow. And thank you so much, Dr. Pravakar Mishra. We would like to take some questions. I would request Tusha and Pooja, if you can could you take some questions from the YouTube channel? Because, sir, I would like to inform you that this lecture has been made live on YouTube channels of Vigyan Prasar and ISTM portal of Vigyan Prasar. So if there is any question, then we'd like to have those questions answered by you, sir. And we have joined with us Dr. Amit Kumar, who is a senior scientist at RIS, and who has been actually the steward of this public RIS-STIP lecture series, and he's been continuously organizing these programs and coordinating with all of us. So thank you, Dr. Amit, for joining us. And in case you also would like to have any direct interaction with the speaker, we would welcome you.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, sir, for this extremely fascinating lecture. And your suggestions, one of the suggestions of actually incentivizing people to not just throw your plastics and single-use plastic or other bottles is very important.
Incentivizing the yes, sir.
And right now I'm in Germany, sir, and I can see this retaking of bottles, and they are refunding you. So if you buy a bottle for say 55 cents, they refund you 25 cents back. And this allows people to actually go and submit the bottle back to the shops and get the money token, and which they can get the cash back, or they can use it for buying some other product.
Yes, so we actually we have suggested in our plan. In our plan, one of the suggestion is that suppose I buy a water bottle for 20 rupees, so so make it 30 rupees. You keep 10 rupees. Whoever return, and any seller who is doing business on or selling the water bottle, he has to recycle it, and he has to accept that bottle, and he has to return that 10 rupees. So suppose I am selling, let us say in a month, suppose 10,000 bottles, I have the responsibility to recycle 10,000 bottles. So I should collect that. However I'll do that is my, I have to think and collect that. If they will make it, automatically it will come back. So that is what we are writing. That is one thing we have written. So that has been proposed also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And actually, I think like a country like India, the money incentive will act as a major in this thing, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, definitely.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I am Abhinav from the ISTI portal Vigyan Prasar. I have a question to you. Actually, I have a couple of questions. Sir, in your earlier slide, you have shown a bar diagram that shows the PepsiCo's, Cola's contribution and Unilever's contribution to the pollution, sir. Actually, these companies produce a lot of plastic, sir. So what is the way out? It's not an overnight thing that they can be asked to use some biodegradable supplement to that. How feasible it is?
Yes, sir. As I told you, that there must be, they are producing something like, the estimate was 10 lakhs per minute. The bottles that is being produced by these companies, 10 lakhs per minute, something like this. These are the statistics I have taken from the that is available in a book. So the thing is the same. What just now the suggestion came that if we make it, if we try to some sort of incentives. So that is very important. So the Coca-Cola bottle has the responsibility to collect the entire whatever he is producing. So how it is possible? So he has to make some chain in the same system, in the selling system. How he is selling the same system, he should have a collection system chain. So then it is possible. It is not, because I tell you, here in Chennai, we had a study. Each rag picker, he gets monthly 15,000 to 20,000 rupees. His income. So it is possible. It is not that it is not possible. So that's why I'm telling. So that can be made in a that can be made. It is feasible. Whatever the country size may be, but it may take time. But it is feasible.
And my second question is, sir, that you said that plastic is, especially the microplastic, is making way to the placenta and at the cellular level. Are there any studies to show that it is also altering at the gene level of humans?
No, this paper what I showed, 2021, a paper has been published that shows that that has gone to, but I have not come up to gene level. Maybe the research, some of the research are being done. I mean, it is going on. So these are some of the recent papers. Also, same thing what I mentioned, that agricultural soil, in the soil, how the plastic level is going up, how it is affecting the soil fertility, as well as it is going to affect the productivity of the tree, of the plant. So that's what the research is being done, but I have not seen at the gene level. I have not seen. I have not come through. But okay, we are not doing any sophisticated research here. What we are doing, we are making a measurement quantification and how it is getting transported in the ocean from our source to system. So basically, we have quantified in different entities. Let us say then the ocean and the water column, in the lagoon environment, in the mangrove environment, in different environment. We are trying to quantify, because we didn't have basic data when we started this work, 2000, because if you look at, so far 100 paper has been published in India on microplastics, litter and microplastic, and out of that 2019 onwards, there is a jump in the publications, because it became people become very conscious worldwide, and lot of discussions started. So people started publishing, studying this pollution. Earlier they were not aware of, or they were not, that was not their concern like that. So I think there must be some paper. I have no idea. I will check and I'll let you know.
Okay.
In genetic level.
Thank you, sir. And one more question I would like to pose. Sir, India already has a policy on blue economy. A draft policy on blue economy is already there. Sir, marine, we are talking about in this this lecture series, a marine litter policy, of a need to have a marine litter policy. This marine litter policy should be a part of the blue economy policy, as blue economy policy already talks of maintenance of the marine areas and resources, or it should be a separate one?
Yes, exactly. Right now, is something like that. Blue economy policy, or you can say, or the policy, what we are trying to propose, how we can contain that, because whatever the policy implementation part is going to be the Ministry of Environment and Forest, because they have to notify, they have to implement it. But we as a Ministry of Earth Science, we try to find out the cause. We try to make some of the policy. We make the laboratory studies as well as the field studies, and we give a guideline, a rough draft we prepare, which we are preparing. And I think this can be a part of that blue economy policy. It is nothing bad. Or we can also, in the waste management, like we have policies we have Environmental Act policies, that can be also a part of that. But what we are doing, that how we can crop marine litter, like we call it ghost net. The fishermen they throw their abandoned net in the ocean, that moves with the current system and kills a number of animals. Similarly, those things has to be how it has to be, what type of policy we should make, that those people, the fishermen, should not throw those abandon the nets in the ocean when they are going for fishing. Even suppose they are using that, suppose it gets means for some cause or the other it gets torn off or something happens, they don't bring it back up. Why? I'm not going to use it, to throw it back. So that somehow some policy is required to bring it back, so that at least the environment can be protected. So those things are also being discussed at different forums. So this policy can be part of blue economy, because definitely all these are related to economy. You can say for the blue economy, our environment directly, as I said, it is related to the blue economy. Similarly, blue flag beaches. Now it has been, a number of blue flag beaches has been identified by Ministry of Environment and Forest. So what I mean to say, though, to maintain blue flag beaches, it has to be a continuous effort is required by the government, or people participation should be there. If government will clean, if government will do, the next day people will make it dirty, there is no use. So somewhere some changes required. Even if you can say that this particular beach will be looked by a local institution, or can be managed by local institution, you make some sort of the volunteers of the beach. So that can be also, they can create a awareness among tourists, public. So that is very important. Similarly, so many small points are there which has to be in the field. You can realize, and that we want to bring it to the draft.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I do have one question, sir. Since you have answered one of the question earlier, do we need an international agreement on marine plastic pollution? Because we see that people are aware of this thing, but there is a very less behavioral change. Like you said, like today we are cleaning, the other day they are going to have the same. They might adopt the same habits. So do you think we should come together at one platform to have an agreement like what we were having in Paris agreement on climate change? What's your take?
No, that is already that's what I told you. There is a discussion. There is in the UNEP, and after that you can see we have already under SASEP, South Asian Environmental Cooperation Program, we have already written a regional marine litter policy. So for that, we from India side, we are the partner. So similarly, there is those agreement already there. So people have already discussed. So that is what I told you, the first ad hoc, second ad hoc, and then the final ad hoc, already the paper is there. So there is but it is now how each country is going to implement it. So that's what no country if you realize this is the problem of your land side. This is not the problem from the seaside. Okay, so from land side management is very important. So countries which can manage very nicely, they have absolute no problem. Okay, so we have the problem. So, but there is already, I think, in the final, there is a paper already available, and that's what with different countries also we are working, because this is basically.
Yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
Yeah. So this is basically to now suppose we have some work, we are working with collaboration with let us say Japan, with even there is Indo-Ocean Pacific Initiative, which is being done by all Indian Ocean region, Indian Ocean and Pacific countries, and the leader is CSIRO Australia. We are partner, and also Singapore. So we are leading what type of research can be done, what type of how to make it a better environment. All these are being going on right now. So there is some international collaboration is there, and UNEP under the UNEP there is already the final draft has been made ready. You can see that the first ad hoc report, second ad hoc expert report, and the final also they have made. So, but as I told you, maybe there may be some sort of, okay, we can have some agreement, but that is what is the agreement already is there. But how to implement it? It is the respective country's problem. So that is very important. So it is possible in the country, but it is not everyday basis. Somewhere it has to be generated in such a way that everybody should be conscious, should be about their environment as they should work. So public, as you say, citizen science. So public involvement, participatory approach, all these things fine. But how we are, so what percentage of population are going to participate, and how they are going to contribute? Because if you are telling that a beach has to be restored or beach has to be maintained, you should not allow the food vendors inside the beach area. But if there is a protest from the food vendors, so the government will allow them with some concession. So that makes again same problem, same dirty. So that should be stand on the government side, or the whatever the local government or the public or whatever they are going. That should be stand that no, we should not allow the food vendors in the beach area. Similarly, if you go to a Kovalam beach here, there are a number of places where the balloons, the shooting of balloons, that is a very like something like a array of shops are there. So they throw it and go. So every day they throw means thousands of balloons on the beach, and that balloons goes to the ocean. So so this is the problem. So I mean to say, internationally there are efforts. Internationally, there are already a lot of conventions have been done. There are 3 experts group meeting has been conducted, and they have also has come to a conclusion how to contain this the marine debris, and at the same time how we are going to implement. So we have also a regional action plan. If you are interested, I can send you also the regional action plan for South Asia Pacific region, which has been done under SASEP. So different aspects we are also working out. So there is international collaboration is going on, but beyond that, how we are going to implement at our place. So that is very important.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, in continuation to the earlier question, I would like to ask, sir, as we have seen in your slide, you have shown that there are several gyres across the ocean that are patches of plastics. Is it so that the country which is contributing less to the plastic pollution is also paying the price for those who are worsening the situation? I mean कि कोई बड़ी country है sir वो that is making more pollution to the plastic and adding more to the gyre, but that gyre must be in the Indian Ocean limits or within the territory of that country which is contributing less.
Yeah, yes, exactly what you say. This is a transboundary in nature. Okay, we cannot. So it all when we last 2 years back when you sat for regional cooperation to make a for the marine litter. So the person from Sri Lanka, he brought 2-3 photographs where our that is made in product are from the India. He told, you see, a lot of garbage is coming from India in our water. Similarly, we also see if somebody is written in some Chinese character, you see these a lot of garbage is coming from XYZ country. So what exactly you said that may be producing, but so the another country. So this becomes a responsibility of every country now. That's why the developed country told, you are the South Asian countries, you are having 5-6 major rivers, you are the major polluter. Your production rate is high. Your management, mismanagement of your plastics are high. So you are not recycling this much. So you are the major producer. But we don't know who is the major producer. So of the garbage, marine litter. So that is the point. So we can blame each other, like with the garbage, Pacific garbage, what I said, Pacific gyre system. So this is a garbage which also, if you remember, there was a tsunami in Japan, an entire thing came and reached up to the coast of US. So there also Fukushima, when there was a Fukushima nuclear power plant got inundated, people suspected that some of the things, nuclear related material can reach up to US coast. So that can happen. So now the point of concern here, that now they have started, okay, no doubt there is a lot of effort to clean the Pacific garbage. So many companies have come forward. So similarly, they are suspecting on the basis of mathematical model, current modeling, they have suspected where there is a chance of garbage, where there is a chance of gyre. And in the gyre, they go and check, okay, whether there is some sort of higher percentage of marine litter is there. If it is floating, we can remove it. Okay, let us say technology has already come. Okay, we can remove it. But if it is in microplastic form, so it is with the system. It is, okay, some of the things have come forward, but not in a laboratory experiment basis. They have how to remove microplastic. Some of the ideas have come, some of the experiments are being done, but in a vast ocean, microplastic, once it enters, it is impossible. So the main point here, that we must not allow the marine the litter, the landside waste management must be very strict. So if you see that, you will see the effect. I feel this year we may ban of the effect of banning of SUP. You may see in our 17th campaign, 17th September we are campaigning. I think the percentage of SUP may go down, because that we have seen in 2021 when initially we did lot of fork cutlery gone down, because in 2020 beaches were closed. So, but at the same time, mask, we got proportionately a high rate of mask. So you see, that means there is a shift in material, but not in shift in attitude.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. This is Prasar from Vigyan, Prasar. We have a question from one of the social media, and the question is, what is the short-term and the long-term effects that we saw from the recent pandemic on the ocean sustainability or the microplastic that have entered into the marine?
What is the short-term?
Sir, did we have any short-term or any long-term effects from the recent pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic that we had, on the ocean sustainability and the microplastics that have entered the ocean? Did we have any effect on?
I tell you very my second or third slide can show you that that says that what is the longevity of plastics in the marine environment. So it can go up to 400 years. So that's the thing. The estimate that has been given by Jembek et al., that if we'll use, means if we'll leave the business as usual, so by 2050, the total weight of plastics will be more than the total weight of fish in the ocean. And that is true. The estimate what they have given, if 50 billion tons of plastic, they are going to be generated, okay? So the short term means, okay, I can say the short term means as we are now, the proportionality, the research has gone up, as now there are a lot of focus on microplastic studies. So we are slowly getting into, people are, because some of the studies shows that our salt, consumption of salt, till now we never thought of, unless a paper was written that whatever we were consuming in our day-to-day salt in our kitchen, that also contain microplastics. That has come up. So that can affect. Now studies are being done how that is going to affect the health. So the short term is immediately you can see. Suppose it can affect the the biota system, and long term also accumulation of the same chemicals or some type of with biota system, that can also create a problem. So there is no such short term or long term, because unless we understand it is going to affect. So you can see economically how it is affecting. As I told you, immediately after a flood, you cannot stand on the beach of Chennai beaches. So the next 2 days, you cannot get into the beaches. So the aesthetic sense has gone in a short term. So similarly, microplastic also, this can remain in the ocean for a long term. That can go to any organism's body, because let us say whale, that also is like something like a filter feeder. Means that also takes the plankton. Along with the plankton, that will take a lot of microplastics. And people have already seen that migratory birds, what comes to different places, have already seen that they contain a lot of nodules and a lot of microplastic like material. They have found that birds coming from different places, maybe they are trying to see whether the birds are taken there or birds are taken here. So they come to usually wetland areas, and wetland areas are being in India is slowly getting polluted. So the birds come, and when they stay there, nest there, they take the food from that wetland, and that can be also go to their system. So it has a short term, no doubt, a short term effect, but in long term, it is going to be completely affect more. And it is going to create there will be numerous problem. Okay, I tell you, and I gave an example. You cannot throw. Suppose you change your material from plastic to wood, let us say spoons or cutleries. So that doesn't mean that you should not recycle it. If you are throwing it to the environment, it is going to again make some problem. Suppose you throw a lot of wooden materials saying that this is organic. So that has some time that to get into disintegrated and mix with the system, that will take 100 years maybe, or 50 years maybe, or 20 years maybe. But it has some time that is going to affect. So now we have to thought whatever the resources, that how best we can manage it. So that is very important understanding we have to get. And another important is, as you told, that has a short term as well as long term effect. But how it will affect, how much time it will take, that still one of the process we are studying, we have data. So with time it will come. As I told you, with time we are understanding 5 major rivers, not 5 major rivers, 1600 minor rivers are the contributors. So this is all the time we will be knowing the impact, I think.
Thank you so much, sir, for very patiently answering all the questions that we have from the different users. And with this, we come to the end of this RIS public lecture. On behalf of the whole Vigyan Prasar family, I would like to thank RIS, TERI, CEFIPRA, Indian Habitat Center, and all the other contributors of this lecture. And for more such lectures, please keep visiting India Science, Technology and Innovation portal. Thank you so much for everyone for being with us.
Thank you.